Hey guys, Jamie Osborne, Weichert Realtors Benchmark. I'm making a video today as part of my Q&A series, Questions and Answers with Jamie Osborne. And this question's a good one. This is a very important question, and if you're selling a house, you're definitely going to ask it to your agent, whether that's me, whether that's somebody else. And it's probably the biggest question that you want to know as a homeowner and as a person trying to sell their house, and that is, how much money am I going to make when I sell my house? So I'm going to kind of break that down for you a little bit. You've got the sales price that you're going to be accepting on whatever offer that a buyer's agent or buyer themselves has presented to you, but that's not how much money you're going to make. You're going to have lots of fees and lots of concessions that are going to come out of that, depending, of course. So you got your sales price. The biggest thing that usually comes out of that is going to be your buyer's closing costs if you are paying them for the buyer, and that'll be some dollar amount. Seller to pay up to $3,000. Seller to pay up to $12,000. Seller may only be paying, $1,000, or they may not ask for you to pay any of their closing costs at all. It just kind of depends on how badly they want the house and what their financial situation is, and what the condition of the market is. And currently, in late winter of 2021, the market is extremely hot. So most offers are not going to have any buyer's closing costs associated with them. But, 4 years ago, every offer I wrote had buyer's closing costs written into it because it was just a different market. Anyway, so you get your sales price minus your buyer's closing costs. There may be another fee in there if it's a VA loan, where a VA buyer is not allowed to pay for their own termite inspection, so the seller would be called to pay for that. It's a cost between $75 and $100 depending on what company you go with. I use Inman Murphy. I do a lot of work with them, so that $75 is what they charge. I have seen fees as high as $150. Just depends on what company you're going with, and of course how big the house is. That sort of makes a difference as well. Another fee that might come out of there is a home warranty. I use First American, and I use a first class upgrade on that. If I'm the buyer's agent and I see some things wrong with the property, obviously if the property's in great condition, I might not ask for that. But First American with the first class upgrade, and that's a roughly $650 fee that the seller would have to pay at closing if, of course, they agree to it and the buyer asked for it. What else? So that's pretty much what comes out of just the contract. Sometimes there's some repairs that are in there, but that's a few and far between type thing. So then after you work out those numbers, so your sales price minus your concessions, minus your fees that are a part of your contract, then it comes down to your closing costs on the seller side. So your biggest fee on those, depending of course on the size of the home and the sales price, is going to be your commission to your real estate agent. Now that's usually broken down into two separate agents, a buyer's agent and a listing agent, and portions of each of the funds that those parties actually get split, and sometimes that split is a small split, sometimes that split is a large split, sometimes there's a relocation company that takes a large portion of that, which is topic for another video because sometimes those fees can be very exorbitant. Anyway, so those are some of the things that could come out at that point in time for the commissions, where that breaks down. Some of the other things that you're going to pay for as a seller are like title search. You're going to pay for a title search fee, which essentially is your proof to the buyer that you have the ability to sell the house to them, that you actually own the house and nobody else actually owns it, so you can sell it to them. You're going to have an attorney's fee that's going to go in there. That's what the attorney's office, or just maybe the attorney if it's a small place, is going to pocket in their hands and in their pocket. You're going to have some type of proration for taxes, and those taxes are going to be based on if it's in the county versus the city. So if you're in the city, you're going to have a proration for county taxes and city taxes, and obviously if you're not inside of a city, you won't have any proration of city taxes. Sometimes that's a credit to the seller, sometimes that's a debit to the seller. That has to do with when you're selling the house and if taxes have come out and are due, and that's a whole nother topic for another video as well. But the proration is for what part of the year that you own the house. So if you're selling the house on the last day of the year, then your proration is all the days of the year. And if you're selling that house on July 1st, then it's just half the year that you're actually going to have to pay for toward the closing. And that's not something you're going to cut a check for usually. Usually that's just going to mean the check that you receive is going to be less. Some of the other fees that might come in play there are going to be things like a settlement fee, which it's kind of tied to the attorney's fee. Sometimes those are exactly the same things. You're going to have some type of document prep fee, which can range from anywhere from $25 to $100. And usually the biggest thing that comes out of there is your payoff. So your payoff of your loan is a huge portion of the funds going to go somewhere else as opposed to what you're going to get back. Now, when it comes to payoff, it's not that number that shows up on the statement every month. Like you've got your loan balance, that's not your payoff. It is a different number than that. It is almost always larger than whatever payoff number or principal balance that you see on your statement every month. And the reason that is because there's interest that's charged like on a daily basis, and so you are going to be closing someday in the future and you're going to be ordering your payoff, and so that payoff will be good through whatever your 5 days, 10 days after your closing date is. And if there's a credit left over, it'll be dollars, and you call the mortgage company and you say, here's where you forward that check to. They're not going to keep it unless they can't find you. So if you don't tell them where you're moving to, then they may end up keeping that $16 or whatever. So make sure your mortgage company has a forwarding address for you when you sell a house. That is pretty much all of it. I usually tell people to kind of budget somewhere around $1,000 for that closing. Oftentimes the closing fee on the buyer's side could be as low, or the seller's side could be as low as like $750, but sometimes it's as much as $2,000. And once again, that has to do with the credit or debit of the tax proration. So it can get kind of technical. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope that helps when you are getting ready to sell your house. You'll know what numbers are going to be coming out of that amount that you're going to be receiving back. And so, answer the question, how much money am I going to make when I sell my house? So, you guys have a good day and think about that.